Good morning, everyone. Today we're going to do a big review. Again, a big review of all that we're doing in all classes. So some of you missed for one reason or the other, but we're doing what we call a big review. Now, our objective, we're going to talk about figurative language. We're going to talk about how the verse impacts the memoirs, meaning, and style a little bit. We're going to describe impacts. We're going to be able to explain how individual text section convey meaning in text or ELL and ESC. We're going to locate examples of figurative language in the text. We're going to talk about lines, stanzas, line breaks. We're going to talk about rhythm if we have any. We're going to talk about meter if we have any. And we also go over verse. Some of you will say, oh, miss, remember verse? Right, we have verse, we have memory verse, we have free verse. All right, and all of that we can talk about with the word verse. But for the poem, what are we going to talk about? Free verse. So we've been doing that in class. What is free verse and how it lines up with the poem. So free verse has to do with what? Some of your figurative languages, right? Everybody remembers that? So we're going to go on to the next slide. What is the essential question? Notice I didn't have it here, but I put it right here. What does it take to be a survivor? So you're going to be a survivor in every aspect of your life or in every little part of your life. You're going to be a survivor. So we need you to be able to pass your test. So you're going to survive. And you're going to be revived when we're finished. So again, many times in class, we do from step 1 to 5. However, we're doing a big review of everything we've learned. Some we've done in different months, November, October, January, February, all different times. We've been doing these. Some of you get it, some of you don't get it. However, I'm hoping for the purposes of this, you are going to remember. So the first thing we're going to talk about, what is a line? A line is one row of the poem. And notice on this side, you have some practice questions. Then a line break is where the poem ends one line and starts another. So you're going to be able to write down an example of a line break. And why do you think the poet used a line break? Then we're also going to talk about a stanza. What is a stanza? It's a group of lines in a poem. How many stanzas are in the poem? Why do you think they have stanzas? Write one full stanza. Also, as we talk about verse, we're going to write about the free verse. Even if you don't see the question here, you will do that in class. Again, write about the free verse. What makes up a free verse? Okay. Now, wow. What do we have here? We have what we call some structural elements. And then structural elements, S stands for stands. The L is for your line breaks and your line. And the R is for your rhythm, if you have any. Now, I also have the speaker here, so you need to also know who's the speaker, who's this poet, but I put them all right here on the structural elements. But when you look up structural elements, you're going to talk about stanza, line, and line breaks. They also talk about your rhythm. Now, this poem is Cat by Marilyn Singer. So here we have the cat, and the cat is going to be the speaker. So if you notice, I put the speaker over his mouth. Cat is a speaker. And what we call the stanza. Again, we're looking at what we call the stanza. Stanza starts from the word I prefer. Again, stanza starts from the word I prefer, and it ends at the word there. 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 So it starts on the word I and end at the word there. What is like a line? A line is I prefer is a line. Warm for is a line. A perfect fire is a line. To lie beside is a line. A cozy nap is a line. Where I can nap is a line. Everybody got that? On an empty chair is a line. Which is not there is a line. Everybody got that? So as long as you can read this, I prefer, warm for, a perfect line, to lie beside, a cozy nap, where I can nap, on an empty chair, when she's not there, is a line. All of those is a line. First, they have to be a line, then all of the lines. Stanza. Now, there's a lot more lines in this poem, but I want to make sure we can identify the lines in the poem. Here's all the things that we're going to be able to identify, but we'll do them on the next slide. Now, who's the speaker? Somebody tell me who is the speaker? I know you got it right. It is the cat. The cat is the speaker. Okay. How we know the cat is the speaker? It says, I prefer warm fur. Okay, cat has a fur. Okay? And look at the title also. That helps you to say, who is the speaker? Now, the next thing that we need to look at this, it says, is there any rhyme? I prefer warm fur, big fire, to lie beside. Okay, no rhymes there. A cozy lap where I can nap. A cozy lap where I can nap. Yes, lap and nap. You have them circled in yellow. An empty chair which is not there. An empty chair which is not there. An empty chair. An empty chair which is not there. Is there a rhyme? Okay, let's go on. I want heat on my feet. I want heat on my feet. Oh, I'm hearing something. On my nose, on my hide. No cat, I remember likes December. Oh, I'm hearing some rhyming sounds. So rhyming ending sounds need to match. Your job, find them all. And all the rhyming sounds. So is there a rhyme? Yeah. Is there a rhythm? Oh yeah, teacher, you just made up the rhythm for you, right? So I made a little rhythm, musical rhythm, but rhythm in the poem, not all poems have a rhythm. Sometimes you hear them talk about A, B, C, D rhythm. Okay, we talk about that in class. Okay, and we'll do that with another poem. We've done it before with another teacher, but we're going to do it and look at the rhythms. Okay, now remember, all poems don't have a rhythm, and we'll go over rhythms that you should learn. Not musical rhythm. That's not the one I'm talking about, okay? Now, let's look at the next slide. Let me make sure I'm not going ahead of myself. So, yep, we did the rhythm. Now, we're going to look at the line breaks. Again, we're going to look at the line breaks. So when we are going to look at the line breaks, let me go to the next slide. I prefer warm fur. Okay, I see a line 1, and I see a break, and I see a line 2. Everybody got that? So here's a line 1 and a line 2. And in between this called a break. It's like I'm making a cheese sandwich, one at the top, one at the bottom, cheese in between. That's the way I see it. So everyone, when you look at it, line 1, then a line break. Line 2, then a line break. A perfect fire, line 3, then a line break. To line beside, line 4, then a line break. A cozy lap, line 5, then a line break. Everybody understand? Now, see that there are how many lines in the stanza? And remember, you need to be able to recognize line breaks. Stanza 2, same thing. You see, we have a line 9, we have a line 10, a line 11, line 12, and notice there's a line break in between every line, all the way to the last line. So how many stanzas do we see? And how many lines do we see in all of the poem? So we're going to see, what are the rhyming words? Who is a poet? Who is a speaker? Let's continue. Okay, so we've been doing this poem in class. It's line 1 of this poem, and then we need to find the last line in this section of the poem. Oh yeah, this poem has about 225 lines total, but I want you to be able to know how to count the lines. After you're able to count the lines, you're going to be able to do what? Identify how many stanzas. Okay, so look closely. I see full stops. Maybe 1, 2, 3 full stops. And some stanzas. I look for my capital letters. I look for my full stops. That's what I'm doing, all right? And that will help me to identify my stanzas. So stanzas is a group of lines. They make up. We're going to go, we know all line breaks. We should be able to identify all line breaks. That's easy. So here's a line break in between flushed break. Okay, and then you can find more line breaks as you go on. So we have lines. We have line breaks. There are rhythm. Is there the rhyming words? It will go on. And what kind of poem is this? It's called a free verse. Again, this is called a free verse. Why? Because that's a poetic style. 2, you find some figurative language in there. You may not find a rhythm, So it is called a free verse. I don't see a rhythm, but I see some figurative language. And this poem, and this is what the author chose. This is what we call a free verse. Free verse that we have in your textbook. Now, here are some questions that I think would help you. This is covered in your text, but I'm also making sure I wrote it here so you can remember what a line break stands for. And again, free verse. And we wrote a whole lot of things about free verse in class. Figurative language, the structure, the way it's written has no rhythm. Everybody remembers that? Now, and we're looking at the figurative language. And again, remember, this is a review. So, some of you did well in class last time. So, you were able to identify repetition. If. And we are seeing that as the repetition. The word that is repeated is if. And we're looking at the next one. For some of you, this was new. An extended metaphor is when you compare two things over two or more sentences. Okay, so it's a very long sentence, yes. So this could be a disaster movie with helicopters overhead, special effect brought in to create like, oh boy, it's a long one. So is this just a metaphor? No, this one is an extended metaphor over two. And what is this hurricane being compared to? Let me see. I think that's some of you like to watch. Yes. Let me think about it. Movie. Also another figurative language here. Inside of this metaphor, I see another one, something that you can imagine. Remember, imagery is where you're using all five senses. But you may find one imagery inside of this sentence. I can see that thing. Now we're going to go to the next page. There's more figurative language, but let me look at that on the next page. Now, out of work, waiters would pose as policemen. Okay. Dean says, look for something that is repeated. It's repeated there. Okay. And word. Okay. I'm looking for the sound. Okay. Work, waiters, wood. Pose. See, two P's. For, pose, policemen. I like that. Work, wood, wood. Okay. And you just see some alliteration. Everybody got that? Sound them out. Wow. That's alliteration. Dump, raw, for set design, dump, raw sewage, trash everywhere. Okay, I can see dump, raw sewage. I can see trash everywhere. The classroom is a pigsty. The students threw trash everywhere. Oh, an extended classroom is a pigsty. A pigsty, I mean the classroom is dirty. My extended metaphor, students threw trash everywhere. It's another sentence that talks about the classroom. So I have an extended metaphor. Everybody got that? Now, things that you can see is imagery. If none of it were real, if we weren't in it, this could be a big budget disaster flick. Oh, this could be a disaster movie. Okay, this could be a big budget disaster flick, can also be a metaphor. This one could also be a hyperbole. Why? This is kind of an exaggeration. It's a big budget disaster flick. This could be an hyperbole. In Jesper and Adrian, after band practice, like we did last Tuesday watching Titanic. Okay, Titanic. Is this something that we all know about? Is this something that we can refer to? That. Illusion. Now let's go to the last line. That Jasper would laugh at all the actors drowning while the band played. Glub, glub, glub to the death. Now, glub, glub, glub. And sound. It's not alliteration. It's the same word over and over and over again. Ah, that one is onomatopoeia. Like wow, crash, clank. Everybody got that? Different from the other sound word. So we have repetition and glub, glub, glub. And we also have onomatopoeia. So if we were to count all of the figurative language that we just did, y'all do this in class. For me, it could be 6, 7, or 8. So everyone, let's make sure we understand figurative language in the poem, understand our lines, or line breaks, or stanzas, and free verse. Let's make sure we understand that. So, what are we going to do in our stations? What this text about in 3 to 5 sentences? And why did the author write this poem? Yep, I can see all of my good students doing this. I have another set of students that are going to do this. Describe the structural elements, particularly line breaks and stanza groupings. Why did the author structure her poem this way? Ooh, I can see a lot of students doing this. My students with J, E, M. If your name start with J, your name start with E, your name start with M, your name start with D, your name start with Z, your name start with S. Oh, yes. I see all 20 of you been able to answer station 1 and station 2. Again, station 1, station 2, because this is not new. Need everyone to be able to do this. We're also going to do another poem. We're just finding alliteration and extended metaphors. So we're going to do this over or understand this well. Have an awesome day and see you in school.